Hi guys, so this is a video basically, like the title says, how I deal with being damaged goods. And that's not to say, that's not to say girls like me are damaged goods. I'm not saying that. I'm just using a term that would be used to describe girls like us by our backward brethren. And when I say us, what I mean is girls that are married and divorced, or girls that are married and divorced and have kids, or girls that have had their nikah and it didn't quite work out so they broke it off, girls, or even girls who've just literally had that relationship that they try to keep on the D-low and it's no longer on the D-low and it became public because one random auntie saw you in a restaurant somewhere. And now people know about it, and then you broke up with that person. So this is what I'm talking about when I say damaged goods. We're not really damaged goods. Can we just clarify? We are experienced. Sounds so wrong. Like, what are you experienced at? No, okay, anyway. So basically, a lot of people, I get this question quite a lot. You know, I'm trying to get to know someone, and they don't want someone who's been divorced before, or they don't want someone who's got kids, or they don't want this, or they don't want that. Like, my answer to all of the above is that is God's biggest blessing to you, because that's the guy that you don't want to be with. That's the guy that carries with him a mentality from like the Stone Age Caveman mentality. The most backward form of a mentality you can ever have. That's what these people possess. And why would you want to end up with that person? Look, the fact that you're divorced or you've broken it off, whatever it is, you chose to be happy over being sad in a situation that would have probably caused your reputation less headache. Let's be real. You are obviously of a certain open-mindedness where you think divorce to be happy, or you know, breaking something off even though people found out, to be happy is number one. Like that is important to you. Like, you do believe in happiness. It's not just loveless marriages, just taking them through to the very end and you're just like soldiering it out. You know, for you to already make that decision that you don't want to be part of a loveless marriage, you don't want to be part of a, you know, a marriage where you're unhappy, and you'd rather be alone, and you take all of the kind of the stigma that comes with it, you're taking that and you're leaving this relationship, as opposed to the others, you know, in our situations who might think, you know what, no, I'll stay because I don't want people to talk about me. You know, our ancestors mentality, where, you know, the right thing to do is stay even though you're unhappy, even though he abuses you, even though he's cheated on you, even though a million and one things. That's kind of the notion that we're kind of taught to stick with. And I'm speaking from experience in that I've seen girls who have had the cheating husband, who have tried to get a divorce, and, you know, communities will come together and be like, no, 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 and try and kind of like push her away as much as possible from divorce. So for you to even make that decision, whether you want to admit or not, you're open-minded. I'm not saying you might be like completely open-minded to my level, but I'm saying you're open-minded to a degree. The guy that you meet, you know, the guy that you get to know, that doesn't want a girl that's divorced is not on your level of open-mindedness. Therefore, you will not be happy in a relationship with him, even if he accepted the fact that you're divorced, or the fact that you're damaged goods, or whatever it is, or you've got kids. You wouldn't be happy. You might lie to yourself. You might convince yourself that you're happy because you're so desperate to get this guy that doesn't really want, you know, divorced women or whatever, because apparently he's put himself on some sort of pedestal. Like, drive me a height, please. But the fact that you think like that means you will convince yourself. The mind is a powerful thing. You will convince yourself that this guy is amazing and you're going to be so happy with him. Actually, when you kick back, when you actually give yourself the value that you deserve, you realise that this guy isn't shit. And all it is how he's made you feel, how inferior he's made you feel, how small, how, you know, as a like second class citizen, if you like, he's made you feel. That's made you think that this is what you want, and actually it's not. An example of like me, you know, and how I kind of reached that sort of mentality is, if you don't agree with dating, here's where you should forward. But basically, the more dates I went on with, like, you know, different people, and the more interested in me they were. Look, you can say what you will about me, I know I've reached a point in my life where I can decipher between a guy who's serious and a guy who's not serious. You know, whether I decide to stick around with the guy that's not serious is on me. But regardless, I know the difference. I could tell the difference. And I have been out with, you know, many guys. Not that many. Shut up, Nana, please. Thank you. Not that many, but like, I've been out on like at least 10 dates, let's say, okay? In my course of, throughout my last couple of years of dating, I've been on at least 10 dates. That sounds like a lie, but it doesn't really feel like I've been on more. Anyway, like, that's not important. Numbers aren't important. Let's just put them to the side. Point of the story is I've been out on a number of dates. In these, I've experienced people who are, you know, not serious. I don't know where that American accent came from. Anyway, I've experienced people that are not serious. Okay, and you could tell. And I've experienced people that are. And the more I experience, but the people that are might not have been something that I was looking for. And the more that I kind of put myself out there, getting to know people as I am, you know, not caring, because it got to a point in when you go on your first date, you're nervous. You're like, you're shitting bricks. Like, oh my god. Second date, yeah, kind of still nervous. Third date, yeah, you kind of get used to it. Fourth date, you're kind of like comfortable in yourself. You're like, whatever, if I don't like this person, I don't like it, because the other 3 people I didn't like, or, you know, it didn't work out the other 3 people, you know, I'm not really going to put my hopes up. I think the first time you go on a date, the reason why you're so nervous is your hopes are so high that you're going to meet the right person, and you have to kind of meet that bar that you've set for yourself. But really, when you hit reality and you realise men aren't shit, and, you know, it's kind of like a needle in a haystack situation, what you come to be is a bit more confident in yourself. Like, who cares if this person doesn't like me? That's the level that you want to reach. So I reached that level, and I did, and I swear to God, and I don't mean to blow my own trumpet, but I did come across, you know, say one guy who was within my community. To my community, I'm sure, like, I'm this person who's so loose. I'm pretty sure, you know, from what I hear about myself. Like, I hear stuff about myself I didn't even know. I'm like, oh, no way. So from what I hear, I haven't got the best reputations. From that same community, I got interest, and not just interest, like really clingy to move to the next level interest, from, like, say, one guy who was in the community, who was younger than me, who's never been married, who's doing so well in, like, in work, career-wise, you know, financially. He ticked a lot of boxes. I just didn't feel a connection with that, so I kind of deaded it after one date. But he carried on for like months and months and months and months, messaging, trying to get another date. And I was 100%, I could literally put money on it, but I'm not gonna because it's haram. But I could put money on it that he was serious and he would have wanted to take it to the next level. The more I met people like that, the more it made me realise, actually, I am something amazing. I'm not saying it in a way that I'm bigging myself up. I'm saying it in the way that every woman should feel like that about herself. I am amazing. I don't have to kind of feel second class. I don't have to feel like I'm damaged goods. I don't have to feel like I have to settle just because I'm in the position that I am in. You know what? Shit happens. I met my late husband. Having been a divorcee, I met him and I got the most amazing husband. I got my soulmate. I met my recent fiance, who was on paper great. On paper, he was unmarried, he was not much older than me, you know, he was doing well financially, educated, you know, good family, everything. He ticked all the boxes. And he was, you know, willing, and I say it like this, but we shouldn't look at it like this, but I'm just trying to show you what it is. He was willing to settle with 2-time married, 1-time divorced mother with a child from another man. Like, this guy was willing to go the whole 9 yards with that much baggage. Use like cars. The 1 previous owner, 2 previous owner, the more previous owner, the price goes down. But now with women, it shouldn't be with women. But with me, it was like my 1 previous marriage, my 2 previous marriage, and my child. That provided for. Now, of course, no one's going to look at their own child like baggage, but to a potential, you know, bachelor, that is baggage. And the fact that that didn't deter you know, a X, Y or Z person from wanting to go to the next step with me. The only thing that didn't really get them further was the fact that I just didn't feel like we kind of connected on a mental level and really got each other, etc., or we just weren't, you know, suited to each other. The fact that I got to experience that, it kind of showed me, actually, I don't need to settle. I don't need to think, oh, where's the nearest divorcee man with 14 kids from like 3 marriages that's going to accept me because I've been, you know, whatever. That's going to accept me. I didn't have to do that. I became more and more confident in myself. I was like, you know what, I know what I've got. I'm amazing. You know, in essence, the fact that you've been previously married, there's a guy actually wanted you at some point. Sounds really bad. There's a guy, at some point he wanted you. Therefore another guy will at some point want you. Compared to someone who's single forever, maybe a guy didn't want them, but maybe that wasn't God's plan for them, whatever. But you get my drift. A guy wanted you at some point, and a guy will want you at some point or another. Any man who is worth the effort, who's worth the hassle, will love you enough that any previous relationship is gonna mean F all to him. Any child is not gonna be the stopping factor. It might be difficult, and look, saying it's not difficult is being ignorant. It will be difficult for a man to accept another man's child, especially if the other man is living. In my case, it's not. It's slightly easier, you know, in terms of new relationships. But regardless, you know, if you have your husband who's in the scene because he's visiting his children, it's going to be that much more difficult, but it's not impossible. And you have to keep reminding yourself it's not impossible. It's a sad reality where, you know, men in the Asian and Arab and Middle Eastern kind of communities, they look at women that are divorced or, you know, single mothers as damaged goods and as like last resort and possibly even no resort and even or possibly second wife or, you know, side chick. They look at them like that. And the sad thing is, you know, men from the Western society, they would not, like, I don't know if you've seen like, what are they called, families that are, gosh, there's a word for them and I can't remember it, obviously me and my English. I'm gonna search it because this is gonna be another time where I don't really know the word, and then I realise while I'm editing it and I'm like, asterisk, hindrance. I just find it now then I'll stop causing yourself. Families. I think they call it blended family. It's technically a step family. Why am I trying to be difficult? It's a step family. Like, you're just like a blended, like English people and like westernized people of not much religion, you know, when it comes to it, when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, not people that follow, you know, their religion as strictly as we're supposedly following it. Loads of this. They are like, they have a bit more humanity in that they don't really judge. I see so many Western, you know, English, because I live in the UK, so I can only speak for England, but I see so many English families made up of, like, you know, children from a different marriage, they're so much more accepting to it. And it's a sad world where, you know, our own people can't have that same acceptance. And supposedly they're supposed to be so close to God, and, you know, these people, a lot of them aren't that strict in religion. You know, some of them are, but some of them aren't. You know, but they've got that humanity within them. I'm sure that's something that's important to God, and yet we have, you know, men within our culture and our communities who won't ever consider it, you know, as a first time marriage for themselves. I'm not saying all. Judging by the messages that I've been receiving, probably a very, 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 very small minority, like, they need to show themselves, like, where are you guys? That are okay with them, and she goes, where are you? No, I'm joking. Anyway, so I think the most important thing, don't worry if you come across a guy that doesn't want damaged goods. Don't fret when you come across a man that doesn't want that, because believe me when I tell you, you don't want that. That man, you don't want him. And it's only your brain tricking you because of the way he's making you feel about yourself. you're thinking this guy's more than what he actually is, and actually he's nothing. He's not someone, if you are in your clear thought and you're, you know, at a point where you're in complete zen and you're so 100% secure, 100%, you know, complete about, you know, the image you have of yourself. He's not someone that you would choose in that zone. So if that guy comes along that doesn't really want, bye. 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 Don't ever feel like you need to settle just because of your situation. A man was willing to marry you before, a man was willing to love you before, another man will do the same thing again. And at the end of the day, if something didn't work out for you previously, it might have been God's plan, because he was saving you for something better. And you have to kind of keep reminding yourself of this when you're kind of putting yourself out there again after a breakup, after a divorce, after, you know, whatever it is. You need to keep reminding yourself of these things and never ever fall short of your belief in yourself, because that's the minute you'll allow shit in your life. Don't feel because you're a divorced woman, you know, or someone who's had a past, that you need to accept less than what a girl, say, who's a virgin would accept. Don't feel like that. Why do you need to feel like that? Why is it any different? If a guy is getting to know a virgin girl, it's very unlikely she will give him her virginity unless you're stupid and you need like a good, massive, long lecture from me. Let's just get to the actual point of here, what we're trying to say here. A virgin isn't going to give up her virginity for a guy she's getting to know. So as a divorced woman, as a woman who is no longer a virgin, you know, by mistake or otherwise, you shouldn't accept less either. You shouldn't just think, oh, because I'm not a virgin, I guess that I can't say no. It's going to make him think that I'm not into him, or I need to, like, oh, there's a million and one things wrong that go through your head, are going to go through your head, and you can't let them overcome and overtake. You have to tell yourself the most important thing to be able to get the best. You deserve exactly, if not more, what your non-married virgin counterpart would get. You have to believe that for yourself. You need to will it and believe it for yourself for it to happen. Otherwise, if you think that you can't get a guy like, say, another girl can get, just because she's, you know, a virgin, just because she's never been married or she hasn't got kids, like, what chance in hell do you have of actually getting a decent guy? You know how they always say to you, if you plan or you hope or you plan to get an A star, you usually get an A, or if you plan and hope to get an A, you usually get a B. You know, just put the same logic on this. If you're expecting shit, you're going to get shit than that. So expect something decent for yourself. Expect someone, a girl who hasn't been married before, would want for herself. Expect that same stuff. The minute you expect that, good things will come your way. And if they don't come your way, it's just not your time. You know, don't just like message me after like a month like, you kind of said to expect things and nothing's really come, so like, what's going on? And I'll just be like, what can I say? God just wants you to be alone. I'm joking, like, everything's written for us, right? But you can have a part to play in how many mistakes you make until that happens. And we want to limit our mistakes. We want to decrease them to 0 if possible. That's what we want to do. That's the purpose of all these videos, to reduce them to 0. 0 mistakes. We're not going to make mistakes when it comes to guys. Alright? So yeah. Do not expect less. It's rule number 1, and the only like thing I can ever kind of leave you with is do not expect less for yourself than someone who isn't damaged goods. Okay? Anyway, I hope this video has been somewhat informative. Let me know in the comments. Really, I know I said it in the last video, but really running out of things to talk about. Obviously you guys gave me this idea, but like, seriously, give me more ideas. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Very important that you subscribe so I can get more followers and can just get to my head. Just a tiny bit, so I feel like what I'm doing is positive and it's good and you guys do want it, and so I can keep doing it. Because I have this thing where I know if I reach a plateau of like feedback, like whenever I get new followers, and it kind of like just kind of reinforces that kind of motivation within me, and then when it kind of dies down, I'm just like, is this really what I should be doing with my life? And then I just stop a bit. So please continue to subscribe, like and comment so I can keep making more videos. Please, thank you. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Bye guys.